All right. So let's talk about how I found out that I I'm going to use the word had that I had cancer, even though I'm actively going through treatment. I just like to speak things into existence. Uh, for those of you who don't know, I'm a flight attendant for a major airline, and I at the time was doing hair in two cities. I've been doing hair for years, making custom wigs, which is like one that I have on now. Doing weaves, extensions, etc. So I had just got done with a flight. My flight was diverted because of weather. I was supposed to land at JFK, and I ended up landing in Connecticut. So seeing that I was in Connecticut, I decided to come to Albany, New York, which is where I take clients at from time to time to do hair. So I came to Albany. The next day I was in the shop. I was working on one of my favorite clients, and she knows who she is. I love her to death. And she's a nurse. And I was working on her hair. We're chatting it up, chilling, just vibing, having a good time like we always do. And then all of a sudden, I feel this sharp pain in my right side. And I was like, like, what the hell was that? So she looked at me and she was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm a tough girl. So even when things are hurting me, I'm one of them people that's like, it's not never that bad, you know? So if you hear me say it's bad, it's bad. So I was like, I'm okay. So I'm behind her and I keep working, chatting, whatever. And the pain is getting more intense. So I'm like, oh my God, like this really hurts. What's going on? So I said to her, I said, let me go try to use the bathroom. I'm thinking maybe it's a stomach ache. I don't know what I was thinking, but I went to go try to use the bathroom and I sat down on the toilet and it was just like pain and it was just radiating. It was radiating like from my side into my stomach, around my belly button, into my vagina. It was just like, yo, this shit really freaking hurts. So I went back. I didn't need to use the bathroom. I went back and I tried to do her hair again, and it's just getting worse. And at this point, I'm finding it kind of hard to stand. And I'm like, oh, what is going on? So she's like, oh, let me go outside and get you some pain meds. So I was like, cool. So she went outside to get me some pain meds. And when she went outside, she saw that my husband was outside. And she was like, oh, your husband's outside. And I was like, oh, okay. She's like, you want me to tell him come in? I'm like, no, I'm almost done with your hair. It was her anniversary, her dating anniversary, and they were going to the city to go celebrate, and I only had like the little top part of her hair left to do. So in my head I'm like, I can get this done, like I can get this done. So I was like, no, it's okay. I took the ibuprofen. I'm still trying to finish sewing up the top of her head, and I'm like, oh my God, I need to sit down. So I sat down, and then when I sat down, I'm like, yo, this is bad. So, anybody that had babies and like labor pains, it was like contractions. I started rocking and I'm rocking. I'm like, yo, this shit really hurts. So then I get up again. I'm trying to do her hair again. And she's like, girl, like, stop. Like, something's wrong. And I'm like, yo, I know, but just let me finish your hair. She's like, no. So she goes out. I get on the floor and I kneel down on the floor and I put my head on the chair, just trying to alleviate some of the pressure off of my side. But when I got on the floor, I couldn't get back up. So she goes outside, she gets my husband, brings him inside, and he's like, what the hell? Sees me on the floor. So they pick me up, and now at this point, the pain is bad. I'm still not to the point where I'm crying, but it's like, bruh. So they're like, oh, how do we turn off the salon lights? How do we do this? I'm like, the salon lights. Like, I don't care about none of that. Just lock the door. Make sure the curling irons are unplugged because one of my salons did burn down. Was not my fault. We'll talk about that another time. But make sure the curling irons is off and lock the door. Let's go. So we're in the car. She's like, are you okay? Are you okay? Call me, call me. I'm like, yeah, I get in the car. I'm in the car. We're rocking. It only took like 10 minutes to get to the hospital, but I'm in the car like, and as the time is going by, I'm like, oh my God, this is so bad. I get to the hospital. They take me inside St. Peter's Hospital. They have me waiting in a waiting area. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is getting bad. This is getting bad. This is getting bad. Finally, they get me to the back. It was probably like 20 minutes later, but to me, it felt like hours because I was in so much pain. So I get to the back. Now at this point, the tears is like starting to trickle down my face. And I'm just like, yo, something is wrong. Then my fingertips start going numb. So I said, like, yo, I can't feel my fingers. So the nurse is like, okay, we're going to send you for they sent me for an ultrasound. So I said, okay. She sends me to do the ultrasound. I lay back. I'm like, oh my God, this hurts, whatever. They do the ultrasound. You know, they don't tell you nothing in the ultrasound room. So I go back and waiting for the doctor to tell me something. Nobody's telling me anything. Then my feet start going numb. And I'm like, yo, then I start feeling like pressure. I'm like, yo, something is wrong. Something inside of me is filling up. Something is wrong. I don't know what's going on, but I'm telling y'all something is wrong. They're like, oh, we're going to send you for a CAT scan. They take me to go do the CAT scan. Baby, they go to lay me down on that table, and I didn't know what was happening, but I knew what I felt. So when they went to lay me down on the table, I had internal bleeding because I had a cyst on my ovary that ruptured. So all that bleeding was just filling up, filling up, filling up, getting into my diaphragm. So when I laid back, it went around my diaphragm. So which is, my lungs. So I started freaking out. I grabbed the nurse. I was like, no, 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 I can't lay back. I can't, like, y'all gonna kill me. Like, I can't breathe. And I start hyperventilating, and she holds me and she's like, you gotta stop. You gotta try to breathe. And I'm just like, no, 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 I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Please, please, please stop. So they somehow got me to lay down to do the CAT scan, which was fast. And then I got back up, couldn't breathe. So at this point, I'm in complete hysterics. They bring me back to the room. They're like, yo, we need to do emergency surgery. Um, you have something going on in there. So it was an exploratory surgery. They couldn't see what it was because it was so much blood. Um, so they did the surgery. They took out my right ovary because there was a cyst on my right ovary that burst. And when it burst, I was bleeding. So they pumped out 1 liter of blood out of my abdomen correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember the doctor saying that our body has like 5 or 6 liters in it, and I lost 1 whole liter, just was floating around my abdomen. So that was a lot of blood. Did the surgery. Next day I felt great. Went about my business. Oh no, the next day I called my client. And I was like, she was like, oh my God, are you okay? I was like, yeah, girl, I'm okay. I lied to her, and I was like, hey, because they discharged me from the hospital. I was like, hey, can you come help me clean up the salon? And she was like, yeah, sure. So she comes to the salon. When she came to the salon was already clean. Everything was already done. I was like, girl, sit down. Let me close up the top of your head. And she was like, no. Da, 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 da. And I was like, no, you cannot be running around like that. So me with my bandages and stuff on, it took me like 5 minutes. But I just could not have my girl run around like that. Like, your anniversary, you look crazy. I couldn't style it, but shit, at least let me close the top of your weave. So I closed the top of her weave, and she cursed me out. I ain't care. And then I went home to recover. So I was recovering. It took like 2 weeks. I started feeling great. I went back to work. Both works. I went back to both jobs. I went back to flying, and I went back to doing hair in Houston, Texas. Yep, I went back to Houston, went back to flying. All right, cool. 2 months pass. 2 months. I get a promotion at my airline job, and I'm going to go do training. So I go to my home in Houston, Texas, and I'm opening up my mail, and I see a certified letter from the hospital. So I'm like, I know the hospital ain't sending me a bill certified mail. It's not that serious. You know what I'm saying? So I open it up, and I'm reading it. Mind you, it's a Friday evening. It says, we've been trying to reach you. It's imperative that you contact us to begin treatment. So I'm like, begin treatment on what? Like, I'm fine. So now my brain gets to going. I'm freaking out. I'm in the house. My youngest son and my daughter, they're in the house, but nobody knows what's going on. My mom was there too at the time. Nobody knows what's going on. So I try to call the hospital, the clinic. I try to call the clinic. It's after hours. There's nobody to talk to. I leave a message. I'm sitting there freaking out like, oh my God, what are they talking about? I remember I have this app called MyChart. And for those of you who don't know, MyChart is, you can see your test results like in real time. So I was like, oh, I never used this. Let me log in. I logged in, and all of this stuff started coming up. Stay-Toli, Leydig, malignant, tumor, just all types of stuff that I just didn't, poorly differentiated, all this stuff that I was reading. And I was like, what the hell is this? So of course I put it in Google, and baby, Google will have you like, you about to die, and you're going to die today. So It's ovarian cancer. I had no idea what stage I was at. I knew nothing except I had cancer, and it was ovarian cancer. So at that moment, you know, your life kind of flashes before your eyes. You're sitting there like, damn, I have cancer and I'm going to die. That's where your brain goes, because when you hear the word cancer, that's how you think. It's not until you start doing research and realize that a lot of people have beat cancer. Cancer is not, now granted, yes, people do die from cancer. I'm not taking away from that because it happens. It's the world, the life, the world we live in. But at the same time, there's tons of people that have made it through, that are survivors, and I'm going to be one of them. So, yeah, after I got past my emotions, because my husband wasn't there, he was in New York at the time, and I didn't want to tell anybody in the house. I didn't feel like anybody adding to the way I already felt. So I called him and I told him. He seemed like he took it okay, but you know how men are. They do all their stuff in private, so I don't know. I hung up the phone with him and I sat on the side of my bed and I just broke down crying. And I was just like, this is crazy. Like, I don't do certain things. You know, I don't smoke. I barely drink. Like, you know, you start thinking about things like this. Like, why would I have cancer? Like, why? But that was short lived because I was like, clearly it's a reason. So, whatever the reason is that God was like, okay, hey, you got to handle this. He knows what he's doing. So, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to handle it. But we're going to end this video here. Part 2, I'll tell you exactly what type of cancer it is, and then I'll tell you what we did moving forward.